What up, y'all? It's your girl, Lady T Marie with It's a Chicago Vibe. And today we have a very special guest by the name of Damian Johnson. Stay tuned.
DJ Mr. Success.
What up, y'all? It's your girl, Lady T Marie and Mr. Success. We want to invite y'all to watch our new episode that will be dropping every You don't want to miss it.
C-H-I-C-A-G-O, C-H-I-C-A, let's go, C-H-I-C-A-G-O, C-H-I-C-A.
All right, everybody, welcome back to It's A Chicago Vibe with me,
Mr. Success,
Lady T Marie, the Black Irish, and our special guest, Damien Johnson. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome.
And today it's all about teaching. It's really about the kids, And Damien, I see your name, Mr. J. You're a teacher, you're a coach. Could you let everybody know about that? How did you get involved with all this?
Well, thanks for having me on the show. I first got into teaching because my mom's is a teacher, so before I was even really in school, I was in school. So my mother was in college when I was about 6 years old. So I'm at Chicago State University in Chicago, walking around where I knew everybody and everything that was going on in school. So I was learning college material at 6 years old. But I didn't realize that I really got into teaching till after I graduated college. Now, but before that, my students know me as Mr. J. Let's get into that a little bit, because I use that name because of an 8th grade teacher I had when I was in South Holland, South Suburbs, and at what was used to be called St. Jude the Apostle Catholic School. And this guy, I was my first year there, my 8th grade year, and he really took me under his wing. He really showed me what it meant for a teacher to actually care about you. And he really gave me my foundation for wanting to do better in school. So, but I didn't know that at the time. I had no idea. So knowing all of that, I decided to, I went into personal training. Going into personal training, I decided I didn't realize I was doing more teaching personal training people. And I ended up being leads in seminars and workout classes where I would talk in front of corporate audiences of about 500 people, just talking about corporate fitness and fitness in general. And it always went over with a big success. It always brought our company in big money. And I reaped the benefits of that. I ended up having, some of the highest clientele in the gym at the time. But after the economy had hit a real bad slump, like 2008, I took a step away from personal training, and I really wasn't thinking about what I was going to do next. So I was just staying home with my older daughter when she was born. When she got into kindergarten, we're in Texas, in Houston, Texas, and she came across her kindergarten teacher. My daughter had 104.3 fever in her classroom. And the teacher said my daughter told me she told her to put her head down on the table with 104.3 fever. So she sent her there with my daughter could have died in the classroom, bottom line. And her only excuse was, well, I have 24 other kids to worry about. I can't just worry about one. And the principal decided that, she did all she could for the child. And after that point, I was so upset. I was like, I don't understand this at all. I couldn't understand what was going on. And me trying to figure out, now that my daughter's in school, there's no need for me to stay at home, because I was stay-at-home dad for 4 years until she turned 5 and went to kindergarten. I had met 2 strangers. They said, well, maybe you should try substitute teaching. And then a friend of mine who is a teacher, one of my old clients, she is a teacher, said, why don't you try substitute teaching and get your certification? I said, you know what? I'll try it. Because that summer, my mother had told me, why don't you just go ahead and start teaching? So 4 people within a matter of 3 months told me I should get into teaching. I think that was a little bit of a sign. So it had to be. So right when I did that, it was automatic success. I ended up being a long-term sub, and I stayed in the classroom, and from the first day I applied until the end of the school year. Come to find out, the teacher was just negligent. Come to find out, there's certain things the teacher should be doing in the classroom, and she wasn't doing that. And that was really just ignited my fuel for teaching and trying to help kids when others won't. When they look past them, I look to help them. And so they can always count on me. The same way my teacher, whose name was Mr. J, did for me. So instead of having them call me by my whole last name, which is actually Jackson Johnson, I just told them to call me Mr. J. And it's just stuck for the last, 9-10 years now. So, and that's what I'm known by. So my own daughter's tragedy, which could have been extremely tragic, it turned into something very positive for me in at least about 1,000 students to this day. So that's how I got into teaching.
Okay. Well, my next question for you is, what do you teach? What subjects do you teach?
So I teach science, I teach math, I teach English language arts and reading, and I also teach history and PE. I'm a generalist teacher, so I can teach almost any subject from 4th grade to 8th grade, and when it comes to PE, from kindergarten all the way to 12th grade.
Okay.
So I can teach a whole lot of different things.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So how you doing, Mr. J? My name Milton. I go by Black Irish.
All right, Black Irish, how you doing, man?
All right. My question is for you. How long ago were you teaching that you decided that you wanted to be a coach?
Actually, the funny thing is, I started coaching in Illinois at age 16 at high school. So my mother was the sophomore coach for a high school on the south suburbs, and I was her volunteer assistant coach. So, but the school paid me like I was a coach. So at 16 years old, I was already coaching high school sports. So I started then, and I was learning from 16 on up until I became, eligible to coach, legally.
Okay. That's what's up. What state do you currently reside in?
I'm in Houston, Texas, man. The defending world champions, in baseball, the Houston Astros, but I'm not an Astros fan. As you can tell, I'm a White Sox fan, so I'm a South Sider through and through. So I can't. Yeah, my roots they run deep. So I'm still all South Side all day long. So can't get rid of that.
Chicago fans are some of the most loyal fans. So
we are. We loyal to a fault. But yeah, we've been in Houston for about 20 years now.
Wow.
Yeah, we've been down here a long time.
So you're a Houston man now, so
no, correction. I live in Houston.
There you go.
I'm a Chicagoan all day long. You can take a Chicagoan out the city, but you don't take the Chicago out the man. I'm a Chicago man all day long. That's all it is to it. So
that's question A. I did a thing some years ago, maybe it was well over 10 years ago, when I was with Street Voices. We was on Can TV, and I had said something. I still believe this right now today, that I think teachers are underpaid, because you got to think, just like that neglect on your child that you spoke on about, some of these teachers are dealing with. I know back when I was in school, sometimes it was like 30, 40 people in a class, and some of them still was able to reach all the students, even when people was disrupting the classroom and stuff. So teaching is a real challenge. I think teachers, when I did a thing on Can TV for the teachers, I said teachers should get paid like athletes, based on how they teach, and is they reaching the child out of, is the classroom performing well? they should get contracts based on that strength alone. Because some teachers are teach better than other teachers. Some just there for the paycheck and stuff. I know, especially here in the Chicago area, And this brings me to my question for you. What were some of your biggest challenges as a teacher?
Um, some of the biggest challenges that I came across being a teacher were one, being a Black male. That's the first thing, because the statistics on Black men being teachers is probably less than 10%, because it's about 20% of teachers as a whole. 20% are Black African American teachers in the first place. So we're very low represented already. And when you come into a school as a Black teacher, they always think that, you are really at the bottom of the barrel, that you can't really teach, and you have to try twice as hard and prove yourself twice as much as your counterparts. But the thing about it, the schools that I teach at, they're always, we call them down here Title I schools. Title I schools are at-risk schools. Like, let's say in Chicago, that would be like Hyde Park, Carver, Morgan Park high schools. Those are the type of schools I teach at. And they, because the economic status that their families are in. That's why. But they still go with the stereotype that, most Black people are not very well educated, which we know is totally wrong. And I have to prove that to them time and time again, especially when I was in one district. But the district I'm in now, I am almost like an all-star player. I am a hot commodity. I literally had 3 school districts contact me over the week of spring break about coming into their district and teaching, because I'm good at what I do. So you have to be, when I say you're a teacher, you're a teacher, but you're also a chess player. You can't play checkers. You have to play chess. You got to think 10 steps ahead of the student, so you can know you can reach that student. Because some of these students, they come from backgrounds where, like, some of us came from. And I grew up on 130th and King Drive. If anybody know where that area is, that's not the nicest neighborhood, but it's just where we grew up. But I was never a product of my environment. So it's like, I grew up near Argyle Gardens. I grew up in Concordia Park, but I'm not Concordia Park. I'm Mr. J.
What's up?
Wow. Wow. Well, I was going to ask you, my next question was, what are some of your challenges? But Mr. Sammy took that question. So, my next question for you is, what do you think that maybe like the Board of Education could do, or parents could do, to better improve just improve the learning, for kids, because there's a lot of kids that's in school that may not, what I mean, do very well due to, like you said earlier, like, depending on their circumstances, or if they have a learning disability. What do you think we can do to just have a better system, for the kids?
There's so much that they are trying to do for kids. They, like, when we were back in school, they only had one room for you, and that was BD. So you had behavior disorder. So, but now they have different branches of special education, because if you was sped, they put you in that one classroom and they say you was behavior problem. Well, now we know we have ADHD, we have dyslexia, we have, people who are just, they have different learning disabilities. So you can't say everybody's a behavior problem. But we do have people who are super hyperactive, they can't sit still. Some who have problem comprehending, some have problems reading. But they do have programs set up for that in schools now for that, but the biggest problem is funding those programs. Instead of giving all the money to the other schools who don't really need them, they need to put that money into schools that need that money. So who can have people in the building who actually can help these kids even more. And that's where the most schools are lacking. They don't have the people who actually, they don't have the funds to give to the people who can actually help these kids. And so they have to do whatever they can just to help the kids. So it's up to the board, the NEA, whatever the organization that controls the money, the superintendents, that's who controls the money, and they say where the money goes. And and most of the time, it doesn't go to schools like Carver or any of those feeder schools that go into Carver High School, or feeder schools that go into Simeon or Corliss, or those schools. They don't send that money there. And I'm not even sure those schools even exist still. So that's how
But
they still there?
yeah.
Okay. Because I'm like, I mean, those are
exactly what you're saying. Because I know when I was in high school, they was taking out a lot of programs, giving them to different places that really didn't even need it. That's when people get it twisted. When people say defund the police here, that's not exactly what they was talking about. Defund the police, like stop paying them. They were saying, like, I know some schools got a budget. They took out like some programs, and this was years ago when I was in school, to pay the police to be at the school. But I'm saying, if something happened at the school, if they wasn't getting that budget, if something happened at the school, you mean to tell me the police not going to show up just because it's not in their budget to come to the school? So that's what they were saying when they was like defund the police. A lot of people, it wasn't just stop paying the police, nothing like that, because a lot of this stuff was taken from some of these schools, and it was like, come on, we already got an issue in the schools already, and you taking away programs and stuff from them, which brings me to the next question that I want to ask you. Have you ever had like a child that really needed discipline? And if so, how did you deal with that situation?
Well, that's probably that's probably my biggest strong suit in my schools. I'm a teacher, but I'm also a disciplinarian, and I'm the father figure for a lot of these kids in my school. A lot of kids in these schools, they're missing parents, because a lot of their parents work from sun up to sundown, so they don't have that discipline at school. A lot of them don't have fathers in the home. I know, because I was one of those kids. And so I knew what I was missing. So I tried to be there for them as much as I can that will allow me to be, because they just need that person they can talk to. They can feel like they're going to keep them accountable for what they're doing inside the classroom. And that's the biggest thing that most people don't understand. When kids are acting out, it's because they're missing something at home. Most of the time, it's something that's missing at home. And most of the time, it's a father. Or the parents just not paying attention to them. They're paying attention to the boyfriend, and they're not paying attention to their own child. And so the child acts out in school. But once you give them that connection that they need in school, as an authority figure, as a parental figure, you get more out of that child. And that's what people don't understand. And a lot of people don't care to understand. And it's like you don't realize that until you actually in that situation. I mean, I realized that at a young age, because my mother still has kids that went to school with her, that she taught when I was 16, 17 years old. And this is like I call him my brother because he's always around. My mother goes out of town and she flies back in. I said, hey, bro, you gonna pick her up at the airport? He said, yeah, I got it. He got his own mama, but he'll pick my mother up from the airport, because she was that kind of a teacher to him when he was in high school. Now he's an assistant principal at a school, and we coached together when I was still in Chicago. So people have that kind of impact on you when you show that child that kind of love. I mean, there's some. I mean, yeah, there were some kids I got jealous of because I felt like she was paying more attention to them. But it didn't take me. But I had to realize that these kids didn't have something that we didn't have, that we had. So I had to understand that, and I just before spring break, I got 2 letters from kids who said, "You're like a father to me." He said, "I love you." I said, "Don't hate me, don't dislike me, or stop talking because I talk back. It's just I don't know how to show an adult how much I care for them. But this is how I show you I care for you, by talking to you and being mouthy sometimes. But I don't try to disrespect you." So I mean, and that made me feel like $1 million. And that was before spring break. And so I was on cloud 9 all spring break long because I knew that I was doing something right in my school. I knew I was doing something right. So those are the things that I do in my career to help these kids.
Yes. I want to, before we get to the next question, because what you said is very true as far as teachers being very influential in kids' life, because still to this day I have a godmother who has been in my life since I was maybe 11, and still to this day she's actually graduating this year with her PhD. But she's been my teacher and my godmother since I graduated from 8th grade, and like really has really mold me and pray me through a lot of, different situations. And she's a mother to me, really, so I definitely, give, honor to all the teachers for, being in that position, because a lot of kids don't really have influences at home or nobody to look up to really motivate them to do better. It's not just school, but just with everyday life. So I just wanted to give you your flowers in regards to that.
Appreciate that, because I mean, teaching it. They say it takes a certain type of person to be a teacher. I think it takes a certain type of crazy to be a teacher, because you have to be absolutely crazy to take on about 1,000 kids every year. You have to know their names, you have to know their personalities, you have to know what triggers them, what makes them act right, what will trigger them to do, crazy stuff. How do they learn? How do they, all their little things. It's like having more kids. It really is. And now I realize, I realized this a while ago why my mother always came home tired. It's because teaching is a full-time job. And it's not that you're just teaching, you're being a parent, you're being a psychologist, you're being all these different things. Teachers, when they say it's easy, anybody can be a teacher. Well, you can't, not everybody can be a teacher. There's nothing that's going to tell me that if my first career was a personal trainer, that was way easier than being a teacher. I can do that in my sleep. Teaching, you have to be awake. I bring this big old thing right here, and it's gonna be full of something with caffeine in it. Because if I don't have this with me, those kids are going to eat me alive. But it's not in a bad way. They're going to want that time, and they need that time and that energy. And trust me, I have the time, I have the energy, but yeah, it's a lot. So teachers are very important. When they say teachers, and do teachers get paid a whole lot? They get paid better, but it still could be a whole lot better.
I think teachers should be some of the highest paid people in the world, because I mean, you just broke it down. You got to be a psychologist. You got to be some of everything. A parent, father figure, everything.
You have to be.
And there's multiple children. You got to know their personality and stuff. And that's why I say people will pay to see somebody jump up at a basketball and stuff, but not willing to pay. Like I say, your child, I don't care what nobody says, it starts in the home, but when your child off at school, this is a person the child see every day for hours of the day. This person have effect on how your child being raised. So I mean, why not make them comfortable as possible with raising your child? I mean, that's why I look at it. You know, you pay well, pay them like athletes. I say. So,
It is because some teachers they do way more than so. The thing, say a teacher makes $50,000, they get a paycheck to take home. It's probably like anywhere between 16 and 1800 every pay period, and that's literally what it probably comes out to be. They're going to take at least 100 to 150 to $200 every pay period to do something for a kid in their school or in their classroom. So it's literally, a percentage, a big percentage of their paycheck that they're using for another child. It's like they're paying child support for a child that's not even theirs. I bought shoes for kids. I bring them lunch. I bought clothes. I've sent them home. Some kids, I actually had a kid. This was Halloween. I asked him, I said, are you going? It was another kid. I asked him, what are you doing for Halloween? He said, nothing. I said, where's your brother? Is he going off Halloween? He said, yeah. I said, well, where's your parents? So they're going to work. So where are you going to be? At home. So I literally brought him a big, giant bucket just full of a ton of candy and gave it to him after school. I said, so here's your Halloween candy. I said, because since you didn't have it, I said, this is for you. I said, another kid's shoes, her shoes were all messed up. My wife had bought a pair of shoes for my daughter that she could not wear, and they were too big. But I said, I was going to take this to school. I'm going to give them to a child I know. She loved those shoes. So I don't take for granted what I do for my kids, and I know those kids, they don't take for granted what I do for them. And I know it because they show me every day. So it's like, you have to understand these kids, they don't have the things that we have. And it reminded me when we were little. And I remember going to my cousin's house. We would sit there in the bed and that was just how we had fun, just sitting in the bed. 4 of us. Don't you remember those days? Mm-hmm. So it's like, that makes me understand when most of the families that we deal with, especially in my school, there's 11 people in a 2-bedroom apartment. 11 people. That's just on average. And the conditions they live in are so bad that you have to take that into consideration when you're talking to these kids. Because some of them, they come to school, their pants are so dirty that they don't have clean clothes. They might be able to wash clothes maybe once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks. And so I have a closet in my room just for clothes for these kids. So it's rough.
And I was just saying, just bless you for that. I feel like we need more teachers, and not just teachers, but more people that have compassion and empathy, for these kids. I really have a love. I've never been a teacher at a school, but I've taught like Sunday school. I taught, different things like that. And I started off teaching as a youth pastor, kids, and I really, really enjoy, children, and really love kids. And that's just to see them suffer and have to go through the things that they go through on a daily basis. Us coming from Chicago, have seen a lot, and the stories that you hear, it's like unbelievable, that a kid had to endure these things. So I just want to say thank you for being a blessing to these kids, because you don't have to do that. You know what I mean? You don't have to be a blessing to these kids, you and your wife. So bless y'all for just showing some love, because what we don't understand, and I'm gonna pass it to the next person, Milton. I know probably have questions, but what we don't understand is all about seesawing. And when you plant seeds, you know, you may not see that a seed that you planted in someone as as a pair of shoes, you know, or a pair of jeans, or clean clothes, or just a basket of food. You may not understand that that seed that you sown will carry them a lifetime. You know what I mean? Will literally carry a person a lifetime. So that's just a blessing that what you're doing and what other teachers are doing. We commend everybody, you know, who is going above and beyond, you know, what you're asked of for a paycheck, because that's something you don't have to do. So thank you for that.
It's fun for me. I mean, it doesn't seem like a whole lot for me to do that. So it's easy for me to go ahead and do that any day and every day. So, and the best thing is I have my wife supports me on how I take care of my kids, because I literally have a little note that a child wrote me. Let me show you. Hold on one second.
And also, too, for the viewers that's coming on that would like to donate to Mr. Johnson and the school, the kids, definitely give the people your Cash App or whatever it is, so that they can donate food, whatever it is that they need.
Read it out. I can't see it all.
Okay, so I'm just going to show you. So she did this. This is from a student. She's a 7th grader. She's a newcomer to the United States. She's an evacuee. She didn't know much English at the beginning of the school year, so she wrote this Friday before we went on a spring break. And I'm going to read exactly what she wrote. She said, "Mr. J," and she wrote a heart. You are my father, and you love the number one. You are the number one in my heart. I love you, Andrea. So this is a 7th grader. We don't speak the same language, but when I do speak to her, I give her a hug. I ask her how she's doing, and I say, "Have a good day." It doesn't take much to be that kind to one child who's probably seen just horrible things. And that's what this is one of the things that one of my kids will do for me. This little card means more than a lot of different things that I have. Like the room that I'm sitting in, it's probably worth a whole lot more in this room. But this is priceless. I will keep this forever. I have things for kids. Kids have made me drawings. Most of the kids, they like to make me drawings or anything. They'll color a color sheet, just a coloring sheet, just for me. And they said, "This is for you. This is for you." I have tons of that stuff. I have a folder full of those things, and I have them in a filing cabinet in this corner, in my office, because I have to go look at those things just to make sure that I know, hey, this is why you do what you do. I can't do it without the motivation of these kids. And now it's like it's more and more of my calling just to keep doing this year in and year out. And so it's like, and I made sure, because why I do it, I don't know. But it just seemed like it's just second nature to me to do it. And there's a lot of teachers like me. And there's programs that we have in our schools down here, and they will definitely help these kids as much as they can. So, and I work with people down here who we've actually helped kids who were sexually abused. I had one student, I remember one of my first students. She literally would just sit in the classroom all day with her head down and not say anything. When we came to find out, she was being assaulted at home by her father. Once we found out, we got the authorities involved, he fled the country. But we got her to help. She went from failing classes to being an honor roll student and graduating with honors in high school. So it's like those stories like that, they make me feel good, but I don't look for recognition for it, because it's not why I do it. But these kids, they're the reason why I do it all day long with no problem. And my own. If it wasn't for my oldest, I probably still wouldn't have went into teaching. But because of my oldest child, I'm here today.
Do unto others, have you have them do unto you. Yep. But I'm gonna switch it up a little bit before we go to break. I want to ask you, your sports career, any division titles or any championships, any of the teams you coached won?
In Chicago, I didn't have much luck because those were, I built a program up.
Right.
I put the foundation for a volleyball team with some girls there, but we weren't successful enough. But we were able to get rid of a losing streak that we had down there. But when I came to Texas, that was the difference. I was coaching in Houston Independent School District, and I went to the high school up here. The coach, the head varsity coach, had just decided she didn't want to coach the varsity team anymore, and they were looking for a coach. They couldn't find nobody to coach the team. Nobody wanted the team. They sent an email to the middle school, that's the feeder school, which was my school, the middle school I taught at. They asked if there was anybody interested in coaching high school volleyball. No one answered the email except myself. I said, okay. I said, me. I sent it back. The athletic director called me. He wanted to interview me. Find out he lives in my neighborhood. We met at a restaurant. We had dinner. He had a couple of drinks. I don't drink, so I had me a Sprite on the rocks, shaking, not stirred, So I'm sitting there just enjoying my non-alcoholic beverage. And he said, well, if you're up to the challenge, this is your team. I get there. I take a team that went maybe 3-15 to a one-loss season, the season I took them.
Wow.
So not only did I break every school record they had for a coach and for a player, for a team, we are the greatest team that they've had at that school ever. I told them, I said, what y'all about to do this year, it has not ever been done any season since the school's been here. But we came, so I had a lot of short, little tiny girls. I had one girl that was 5'9". Everybody else was like 5'3". The only team that was better than us was a team that had 3 players who was over 6 feet, and they had recruiters coming to watch them play. So we had one loss in that season. They were undefeated. So they gave us our only loss of the whole season. But once it came to the playoffs, we were the only 2 teams from our division to make it to the playoffs that season. They played a team, they got absolutely destroyed in 2 straight sets. We bust our tail. We still lost, but we had the best showing out of any team in our division. But that was the first and last season I coached there because they wanted to take the team in a different direction. But what I did, because I ended up coaching the softball team the same season, and because I wasn't a high school teacher, they wanted another high school teacher to take that spot. Even though we had won every game I had coached in the softball season, so we were 5-0. After she took the team, they had 5 wins and the rest losses. So it's like, it's not because the players aren't good. It's because the coach is actually better. A coach can make a team way better. And I'm not saying I'm Phil Jackson. But I'm going to say I'm the closest thing to Phil Jackson that's come down here to Texas. Okay? I'm bringing Chicago sports to the city of Houston, Texas, and they have no idea what they got themselves into. I'm just that good. I've been coaching since I was 16. I'm 46 now. That's 30 years.
Wow.
So I've got a lot of teams, a lot of experience, and a lot of success.
Outside of the coaching and the teaching, what are some of the things you like to do when you go home and you unwind and relax? Like, what do you like to do?
I hate to toot my home, but I'm one of the best cooks in my neighborhood. So I if there's anything anybody know about my family, we know how to cook. There's no one who can touch my meals. I am the best cook. That is my therapy. That's how I unwind. I actually, during COVID, I was selling smoked turkey legs down here. My mother came down here for COVID because I went up to Chicago, brought her down here because it was just safer for her to be close to us. And we figured out a recipe to make smoked turkey legs and where they were going to taste good. Well, I took that recipe and I built on that and the process on making them, and they just fall apart. You can see videos on this video on social media. You'll see a guy, he's got a turkey leg, and he just shakes it and the meat just fall off the bone. Well, I've got one where I just twist the bone and just comes straight out. It's just that tender. Like the flavor is unreal. Now my greens, it's unbelievable. Spaghetti, no one can touch it. I mean, cooking is what I do. But I'm also an avid gamer too. So my machine back there is right there.
What you on, Madden? What you play? What you be playing?
Man, like I said, I gotta get some stress out. So I'll be killing a lot of demons and stuff like that. So, but since I'm a science teacher, first, I have a lot of space exploration games. So it's just something for me just to, play around with. Just, and during COVID, I used my PlayStation to show my students stuff about astronomy. So I showed them what they can do. And I can use anything I have in my office to teach kids about anything. So that's how I unwind. Video games, cooking. I take my daughters wherever they want to go. So, and I help my wife whenever she needs me to, or I just pretty much just annoy them whenever I can. So, so those are things I do to keep myself sane.
You got anything, Milton?
Hey, man, I would like to say, man, congratulations on the things that you're doing with those kids down there, and keep doing the great work, with the coaching. And it's kind of sad that they took you away from coaching the high school, but I kind of understand. You want a high school teacher, but hey, you manned up, took the job at the high school. You turned the season, you turned that program around. And that's what's up, man. I'm happy about that.
Yeah, I was happy about it, but because the same girls who played for volleyball with me, they all came out for softball. And the reason why they ended up losing so many games, that the girls didn't want to play for the new coach because she tried to take that team away, and they didn't want to play for her. But I begged them to go back and play because of their senior year. Some of them did, some of them didn't. They just weren't going to. And then the crazy part, the following the next season, I went back to watch those girls play volleyball. And it was a total different atmosphere. The coaches were, they were angry at the girls. The girls didn't want to play. I went for their senior night, and there was 3 people who were not very happy to see me there. The sports coordinator at the high school, he did not like to see me there. The head coach, which is the same woman from the softball team, she wanted both teams, and she did get both teams, which was fine. And the assistant coach, none of them wanted to see me there, but they didn't have a choice but to see me there because the girls invited me. That was the only game that they won because I was there. They were losing at halftime. And they came over to me at halftime and they asked me, I said, why aren't y'all playing? I said, I have all these people here playing, rooting for you all. And so why aren't y'all playing like you know you can play? I said, I didn't come here to watch you all lose. I said, when I was on that bench, you played for me. I said, today, this is your senior night. Play for yourself. I said, if you don't play for anybody else, play for yourself. So they were down 2-0. They had winning 3-2. They won the best out of 5. But it doesn't take much to motivate kids to do things. They just have to believe in you and believe in your philosophy that you're trying to teach them. And so if you can get those kids to do that, you have the makings of a great coach. So I guess you have to have a good mouthpiece on you, which I do. I know I do. But you also have to have that one factor that it's those untangible factors. Like I said, it's with teaching. You have to be able to reach each player on a certain level. You have to set an expectation, in which that's what I did. I set it that bar outside of this screen. They knew what they had to do to reach those expectations. Once they knew what I was expecting from them, they didn't stop until they reached those expectations. We actually had a game where we were down 2-0. I called timeout. We were down. It was like 21-17. They needed 3-4 more points to beat us in straight sets. And I told them, I said, ladies, what do y'all want to do? Do you want to play or do y'all want to go home? I said, because we go home now, I guess what? We're going to have that first loss. I said, we're going to be 5-1. I said, so do you all want that loss? I said, it's up to you now. I said, I have taught you everything that we've done since spring training. I said, since preseason to now. I said, all this is just execution. You know how to hit the ball. You know how to pass the ball. You know we don't let the ball hit the ground. So why are you all doing these things? I said, so now it's time for you all to play. This is my last time out. I can't do anything else. Go play. We win 3-2. We beat the sleeves off. The other team never scored another points the rest of the game. 25. We were down 17-25, 17-25. The third game we won 25-17, 25-0, 25-0. That was it. It's up to you to instill that in the kids, in the classroom or on the athletic field. Once you do that, no one can ever take that from you. They can take the team from you, but they can't take that winning spirit out of you. Never, ever. And that's one thing that they didn't have the next year that I wasn't there. And they still don't have it to this day. And that's been 3 years now. 3 years of losing. And my 8th grade girls that I coached, they graduate this year. And I'm happy about seeing them play their last seasons there. And so I'm about to start a new chapter. When I start a new chapter, all I'm going to do next is I'm just going to post news stories about what my team is doing. That's it. I won't have to say anything. My team will. That's all I got to say.
All right, then. And on that note, we're going to pause for a couple of words from our sponsors and we'll return after these messages.
Know Thyself by Joshua Basutai. There are times where we feel everything is dull. We feel like everything is gray. This is because you do not know yourself. You will find your way to live life each and every day. Know yourself. Know your role. Find your gift. It can take days, months, years to find yourself. But you must keep searching. Only time will tell. But the real you is inside you. That person is the positive side of you. You live for you. You write your own rules. You write your own praises. We all go through this. But know thyself. Let love guide you home. Know yourself.
Many people struggle with grief, and it can weigh you down. But God wants you to be free. There is a time, a season, and a purpose for everything under the sun. This commercial was sponsored by Itz A Chicago Vibe with Lady T. Marie and Mr. Success.
Everybody, welcome back to Itz A Chicago Vibe. Me here with Lady T and the Black Irish with a good interview with Damian Johnson. And be sure if you guys not subscribed to our channel, subscribe at Itz A Chicago Vibe and on Mr. Success Media. You know, subscribe, like, you know, comment, do whatever, you know, but just make sure you subscribe. And moving right along, Lady T, you had another question for Damien?
Yes, I wanted to ask Mr. Johnson, what is his ultimate goals for the next 5 years of his life?
My next 5 years, I would like to progress from the high school level of coaching to the collegiate level of coaching. I want to get to that level because I think I do have what it takes. I just want to fine tune it and before I get to that level. But do I want to go anything higher than that? No, because I still want to stay based in Houston. So I'm looking to do those things at a HBCU, which we have 3 of them here in Houston. So I'm looking to branch that way, but still staying in education. So I don't want to leave the school systems altogether. So, but I want to put more kids in college while they're in high school. I want them to be able to be seen by other schools, especially with social media. I think it'd be easier to get these kids seen. So I want them to understand that, you know, just because it's not a Division I school, that don't mean you can't get a degree. So it's like use the sport that you're good at to get to that next level. Okay. That's all I want you to do. So those are my goals for the next 5 years, and to see my daughter graduate high school because she's a freshman in high school now. So that's what I want. That's probably my biggest one. I want to see her graduate first. Then everybody else comes after her.
Absolutely. That's it. That's all the questions I got for you.
Well, during the break, we had this nice little video planned. You know, I just want to ask everybody, what do you think about that video? Why ain't more videos like that being promoted in the music world? I mean, a song like that right there alone would motivate a kid to want to do better. I mean, I'm on the honor roll. I'm doing this. I'm getting straight A's. I mean, nice little production behind it. I even like the little video shoot of it and everything, you know. Why is it not? Well, we all know why it's not being promoted the way it should be, because first of all, they don't want everybody to be smart, I say. So what did you think about it, Lady T? What did you think about the video?
I thought the video, you know, I'm into positive music, but I thought the video was amazing. You know what I mean? The delivery, and they weren't talking about killing nobody. They want, you know, and I feel like the question was basically why we feel like the positive music don't get as much airplay or light shined upon it, because people want to hear ratchetness. You know what I mean? They want to. People are so immune, and not everybody, but the majority. If you look at what's on the radio and if you listen to what's on YouTube and what people even I saw like a kids under 3 years old dancing to um Sexy Red. You know what I mean? And twerking. And it's like, I don't know. I just feel like it starts from home. It starts from home and um we gotta do better. You know what I mean? We gotta do better. And it's okay that if you I'm gonna say this to anybody that is a artist or up and coming artist and you do positive music, continue to share your music. Somebody listening. You know, everybody don't want to listen to you know music where they twerking, and it's a time and a place for everything. I just feel like teenagers and kids under a certain age shouldn't be listening to what's her name, Sexy Red. That's just my opinion.
What you take out of it, Milton? I'm just going around.
I agree with y'all 100%. The video was very good, inspiration. Like you said, they're not gonna promote that. You know, not like how it was back in the day when we was kids. You know, like ABC came out. You know, said they were singing Aisha and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But you know, yeah. I mean, I hope they do more. I hope they put out more videos out like that from more younger kids. I also saw another video with a Hispanic guy. I forgot his name. It was him, his son. They was rapping about Jesus. You don't see too much of that no more, you know. And that was a good video. You know, they was in the park with other kids and they was just doing what they doing, you know. So hey, I wish more kids would do more videos like that, more songs, but that's not what the airplay. They ain't gonna. The radios ain't gonna play it.
Right.
You
What do
know.
you think of it, Mr. Johnson? Damien, what you?
All right. So, of course, I got a whole different take on a lot of things.
I already know
So,
what you
first
think.
off, I like the video because it is a positive message. So, for instance, when I'm in my classroom, I will play one of Nas's songs from his, Stillmatic album. I know I am, because it talks about being what you want to be. So it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter where you go, because if you work hard at it, you can be what you want to be. And it's such a positive song. When you're around, I asked this question today because we had a conversation earlier this morning. I asked my kids today, how many of you all, this is a class of about 30 kids. How many of y'all want to go to college? They said, only 6 of them said they wanted to go to college. 6 out of 30 kids. These are 8th graders. 8th graders said only 6 of them wanted to go to college. That's very low. I play that song so they understand that this is what they can achieve. I tell them my story about what I achieved. Like, I mean, when you have teachers telling you that you're looking for attention, but not because you're looking for attention, but because you're deaf. I wear hearing aids. I wear glasses. But I didn't get none of this stuff until I graduated college. I didn't have hearing aids until I got out of college. I didn't have glasses until I got out of college. I had none of this stuff. Because they kept telling me that I was a bad kid. So telling me that and telling me I wasn't going to be something, I wanted to prove them wrong. I made up in my mind I was going to prove somebody wrong. And everybody who told me I wasn't going to be this, I was supposed to be a drug dealer. I was supposed to be a murderer. I was going to be in jail. So, I mean, those fortunes that they told me then, well, they were terrible at fortune telling because none of that happened. I ain't never been to jail. I'm the square. I'm definitely I'm as square as they come. I that's what I said. I'm going to do what I wanted to do. I wanted to go to college. I still went to college. They told me maybe you need to think, maybe you should go to the military. No, I want to finish school first. You'll be better off in the military. No, I want to finish school. I want to do this. I didn't realize I was dyslexic until after I graduated. I have dyslexia, so I have a problem comprehending things. I don't understand every time somebody tells me something the first time. I have to hear it a couple of times. This song by Nas, it made me think about that. But that video made me realize that is why I played that song in class all the time. It gave them light. Because when I stopped playing in class, the kids said, Mr. J, why you stop playing the song? I said, what, you want to hear? He said, yeah. I said, why you want to hear it? Because it motivates, it gives me hype to come to class. I said, bet. So I never stopped playing it after that point. So is it good for kids to hear these kind of songs? Yes. Is mainstream media going to play it? No, because they want to make sure that we see the worst out of our culture instead of the best out of our culture. And so that's why when you have a panel of people like us, the kids can see that we are all different walks of life, have all different stories. And some people's stories on this panel is better than others. And my story is not even the best one. And I know that for sure.
Yeah, because I think the song not being pushed for just that reason, what you said is to show our culture, and to elaborate what Lady T was saying. People want ratchetness because songs like this is not in their face. If you give a kid a chance to compete and stuff, you got to think the average child out there listening to drill music, trap music, and stuff because they hear they see their parents looking at it and stuff. Because nowadays the kids, it ain't like when we was coming up. The parents was playing any and everything in front of their kids. They letting them listen to anything. I used to have to sneak to listen to certain rap songs and stuff. Basically any rap song at the time, but
Right.
but nowadays kids they riding down the street in the car, bumping tunes in front of their kids, and they're not even giving the kid a chance to be what they can be. So that's why I'm saying if we start pushing this stuff ourselves through social media, start on social media. They see it more and more, and like this guy Damien, he was in teaching field. He played positive songs for him and stuff, and gave them an opportunity to see there's other music. And me getting deeper into music, I've been in music all my life. I took it in high school and stuff. Of course, it's a whole story behind it. What I'm doing here now, I've been doing all my life trying to do it, but certain things in the road pushed me out the way, had to go another way, but I'm still here. I'm doing it. That's why I try to push motivation music and stuff out now. But when I got into music hard now in these past years, I done found other music that I've been like, wow, this is a nice little stuff, stuff that I wasn't even exposed to as a younger kid and stuff that sounds really good. That's all I'm saying is get a kid chances, to be
Absolutely.
all they can be, So, well,
Absolutely.
we about to wrap everything up for the night, and I think we had a beautiful show here today. Thank you again,
Absolutely.
Damien, for participating with us. Lady T Marie, you always get down. You the Black Irish, But before we get out of here, the business, Lady T. Hit the people with the words of affirmation.
Wow. Today's affirmation is to everybody, whether you're a teacher, student, everyday person. Know that the sky is the limit. Know that whatever goals that you have set for your life, you can make it to the finish line. Like you don't have to give up on the things that you wrote out in your vision. Continue to be great. Continue to do whatever it is that God putting you to do, and never give up. I'm your girl, Lady T Marie, with It's A Chicago Vibe, signing out, sending love to the world and hugs to them thugs.
DJ Mr. Success.
Yeah, my motto when you witness success, you always have a ball. If I can't tell the truth, it's nothing at all. Mr. Success, bringing pleasure, no stress. Until next week, y'all. Peace.
You smell
Peace
me?
out.
C-H-I-C-A-G-O, C-H-I-C-A, let's go, go, 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 C-H-I-C-A-G-O, C-H-I-C-A.